the Adventurous Joe Show. The Adventurous Joe himself, Joseph Michaels. Everyone, and welcome to this week's Adventurous Joe Show. I'm your host, as always, the Adventurous Joe. And this week, we've got our comic book review of X-Men Battle of the Atom trade paperback. We've also got our video game review of the new Call of Duty Advanced Warfare for the Xbox 360. And our movie review of Matthew McConaughey's Interstellar. Now everybody's saying this is the biggest movie since, biggest and greatest movie since sliced bread. And well, I'll have to tell you my verdict on it when it's time. Also, we're going to talk to you about a special Veterans Day thing for all you veterans out there, known as the Wounded Warrior Project. And our anime review of Bayonetta's movie Bloody Fate. And our Cosplayer of the Week. Also, our final little treat at the end of the show from New Line Cinema and Warner Brothers. Wait till you see what it is, and we'll go from there. Now, let's get started. Coming up next. Alright people, it's time now for our comic book review of X-Men Battle of the Atom trade paperback. Now this came out in hardcover a while back, and the trade paperback just came out recently and stuff. It is an unbelievable storyline. Imagine this. Future Jean Grey, which is actually past Jean Grey, comes back in from the future where she leads a new X-Men team known as the Brotherhood, the Evil Brotherhood. I'm like, are you serious? What the hell happened here? Well, it turns out something happens in the events that the past X-Men, being in the present timeline, needed to go back to their the past, where they came from. And it becomes, the past Jean Grey reads the minds of the other ones and knows something's not right. So her and past Cyclops, Scott Summers, take off on the run. And it's just an unbelievable storyline as the future X-Men are chasing them down and the present X-Men are chasing them down, trying to get this done right and everything, until they learn the truth about why the future X-Men are really there. And then all hell breaks loose. Now, check out this artwork. The artwork is amazing. It varies from issue to issue. The issue is all crossed over with every X-Men comic. For a 10-part storyline. Sorry about that. For a 10-part storyline that was just unbelievable. Battle of the Atom, an incredible story nonetheless. Crossing over with Uncanny X-Men, Wolverine and the X-Men, and so on and so forth. It just had a huge crossover-based storyline that crossed over with all the X-Men comics and brought about an incredible story like none other. You even get to meet Jubilee's baby boy from the future. I mean, seriously, he is dressed up in like a Sentinel outfit now and stuff and going around and calling himself Sentinel. I'm like, whoa, unbelievable. Either way, my final verdict on this one, I'm going with a 10 out of 10, and the biggest badass seal of approval I can slam on it. It was incredible, the artwork's great, the storyline, it was incredible, and everything just was perfect about this altogether. So, the cover price on it is $34.99. But if you go on Amazon.com, you can pretty much get it for around under 20 bucks. It's a good story, nonetheless. I highly recommend you check it out if you have not read it. And if you have read it already, Put it down in the comments down below what you thought about it, and let us know what you think about it. Your opinions are always valid here and stuff, and we'd like to hear from you on what we review and whatnot, or if you'd like us to review something different, just let us know down in the comments below. Either way, X-Men Battle of the Atom, the trade paperback, gets a 10 out of 10 as my final verdict, and a badass seal of approval, and a highly recommendation to check it out. Okay, now, let's get on with our video game review of Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. Coming up next. It's time now for our Call of Duty Advanced Warfare review, and you will not believe how this game turned out. I just saw Angry Joe's review on it, I saw IGN's review on it, and so on and so forth, and I gotta say, a lot of them were just bashing the holy hell out of this. I enjoyed this game. I enjoyed the different story aspect to it, and Kevin Spacey in it, for God's sake. You've got a video game with Kevin frickin' Spacey! What the hell, people? And you're getting all uptight about this shit? Seriously, it's not like Call of Duty Ghost. In no way possible. I mean, the game mechanics almost the same and stuff, but this is much better. Awesome as hell to play. Not only for the factors of getting advanced gear, better weaponry, newer mechanical suits. I mean, you punch a person and it's like ragdoll effect kind of shit, like Destiny was. It was just that great. And I mean, unbelievable. Now, let's take a look at that gameplay footage and I will tell you more about everything. Whew. Unbelievable gameplay, people. This game rocked. I didn't want to put it down. I literally loved playing through Call of Duty Black Ops and all them, but this one, Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, just blew me away. The storyline was not very predictable, but at the same time, the way Kevin Spacey acted in it and stuff, you just knew somehow. Then, spoiler alert, but if you have not played the game yet, or heard anything about it, Kevin Spacey is your villain. He is your main villain. Secretly, he is not the villain to anybody, you know, until he declares war on the entire world. I mean, seriously, he just gets inducted into the United Nations, and he declares war! What the holy hell? It's an unbelievable storyline nonetheless. The gameplay, phenomenal. I loved it. I loved every moment of it. The aspect ratios of it and stuff, the way you can use a grappling hook and all this kind of stuff, you turn invisible for a short time and so on and so forth. It was just unbelievable, and the gameplay itself was just incredible to play. I mean, you jump from moving vehicles. You're able to rip car doors off and use them as shields against drones and everything. It was just unbelievable. I loved this game. I mean, seriously. I've seen other reviews. I saw Angry Joe's review. He just gave it a 6 out of 10. And I was just like, why? You know, because he was playing it on PC, and it has major glitch issues and stuff like that. Well, I've seen a few others play it on, like, the different systems, like Xbox 360, which I played it on, Xbox One, PS4, PS3, so on and so forth. Okay? None of them have really had any glitch issues, except on the PC. Now, his review does not matter here, okay? What my final verdict is going to be on here does matter. And I'm telling you right now, Call of Duty Advanced Warfare blew me away. I wanted to play it more and more and more. And the multiplayer, fun to play. I mean, you sometimes have issues where you glitch here and there, like all of a sudden your guy will just suddenly jump for no reason. Or this other person in front of you you'll shoot at them and all of a sudden they just won't die. It's like, what the hell? That part, that's a little bit of a problem. But in the aspect ratio of the whole game itself, the gameplay was beautifully well done. The story, not too predictable, but very great nonetheless. It kept you on the edge of your seat the whole time and made you wonder what's going to happen next. What happens from here? You know, Kevin Spacey playing the main villain as secret main villain of all things was just phenomenal. A phenomenal idea from a very great actor. I mean, seriously, when he tells people off on there and stuff, it's like, this has got to be a Kevin Spacey movie, you know? But it's a game. Either way, my final verdict on Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, I'm giving it a slamming 10 out of 10. I enjoyed this game. I had a lot of fun playing it. I didn't want to stop playing it. I enjoyed every moment of it, including, I died a few times here and there and stuff, and it could get a little frustrating. But for me, I was like, oh God, I just got killed on that for no damn reason, but it was, it wasn't too bad. It wasn't like Call of Duty Ghosts where I wanted to rip my freaking hair out. Ugh. Because of a glitch. Seriously. But either way, my final verdict is a 10 out of 10 and a badass seal of approval. Especially when you've got Kevin frickin' Spacey. Unbelievable. Either way, final verdict for Call of Duty Advanced Warfare for the Xbox 360 is a slamming 10 out of 10. Badass seal of approval, and highly recommend you try it out for yourself. If you've already played it, let us know down in the comments below what you think about it. And then go from there. Okay, now it's time to move on to our movie review of Matthew McConaughey's new movie, Interstellar, coming up next. Our movie review of Interstellar, starring Matthew McConaughey. This movie was unbelievable. It starts off kind of boring at first, blah 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 here and there, blah blah blah, well, the Earth is dying, blah blah blah. It was starting to sound a lot like Lost in Space for a moment. And then, like any other apocalyptic kind of movie and stuff, the Earth is dying. Yeah, we all heard it before. And then it gets more interesting when Matthew McConaughey proposes an idea to launch into space and find a new planet to live on. Are you serious? Okay. The journey itself was incredible. How he goes from Earth to all these rich galaxies and all this stuff, and exploring new things. It was kind of reminding me of Star Trek for a while there. Same thing with Lost in Space. At one point, getting lost and not knowing where they were in the galaxy and so on and so forth, and landing on a planet where they knew nothing about it. And it was just unbelievable. The movie itself, like I said, started off very boring. And all blah 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 crap that you've heard before in other movies that are like this one. However, Interstellar got better and better and got even better towards the end of the film. And my final verdict on it, well, I'm telling you right now, I loved it. I loved this movie. I hated the first 30 minutes or so of it, because it starts off incredibly backwards boring, Like, you've heard all the apocalyptic talk before. You've heard about Earth dying in other movies and so on and so forth. Lost in Space, the Earth was almost dead, and they were launching to find this Alpha Prime planet and go there and start a new life on there. It's just like Earth and so on and so forth. And Interstellar was pretty much the same way, except it was almost a mix of like Lost in Space, Star Trek, and so on and so on, okay? But Matthew McConaughey did a spectacular job in it. He did a fantastic job in the film. The rest of the cast did an amazing job with their parts as well. And I just gotta say, Interstellar, well, I'm gonna give you an 8 out of 10. I loved the film, hated the first 30 minutes of it because it was just all plain boring crap to me. But as it went on, I loved this movie. And so my final verdict for it is an 8 out of 10. Highly recommend you check it out. And I'll give it a badass seal of approval for some things, but not everything. But either way, my final verdict is, in fact, an 8 out of 10. Okay, now, let's move on to the next part of our show. For all you veterans out there, in honor of Veterans Day, we're going to talk about the Wounded Warrior Project. Coming up next. Alright people, in honor of Veterans Day, we at the Adventurous Joe Show salute our men and women veterans of the armed forces of all kinds. Some members of my family are both in the service of the armed forces, whether it's the Marines, Navy, Air Force, so on and so forth. I have a large family. Part of them are military, in the military, and so on and so forth. And I've seen the horror stories of what happens to these poor veterans, these men and women who go into war and come back lost an arm, lost a leg, lost an eye, so on and so forth. But the real problem is that nobody was there for them to care for them and stuff, to help them. For our government, it was like, you know, they just don't care about them and stuff. Then came this little project, this little thing called the Wounded Warrior Project. It started for over a decade now. They have been taking care of our fighting men and women, their families, and making sure that they get the care they need, the help they need, and so on and so forth. These people do an amazing job of this, and I am just blown away at how well everything does. Tracy Burton, and a few others, James Gandolf, the late James Gandolfini, and a few others, all supported the Wounded Warrior Project. They were all big supporters of it. And I, for one, am also a huge supporter of them and stuff. I don't support war. I hate war. I wish to God we never have to have wars. But at the same time, these men and women sacrifice themselves, their bodies, their minds, their hearts, everything you could think of to fight in these wars. And what do they come back to? Sometimes they come back to where they want to have a normal life again and stuff, but it's not that simple. Some of them suffer from post-traumatic distress disorders and so on and so forth. I mean, some of them have to go through physical therapy because of what happened to them. And the Wounded Warrior Project has been, for over a decade, like I said, taking care of them, looking out for them. If there was a man or woman serving in the military whose family, they lost them, and their family, you know, are left with all these medical expenses or anything like that, the Wounded Warrior Project has been there to help these families as well. I have been a huge supporter of the Wounded Warrior Project myself. I am greatly proud of the people that help do this, make their donations to it and stuff. And we at the Adventurous Joe Show say we salute every single one of you for your hard work and your service to this country. And we also say to the people of the Wounded Warrior Project, we salute you as well. You do a fantastic job making sure these fighting men and women have something to keep them going, to make them understand that life did not just end after they got home from the war and stuff like that. That they can move on, they can still have a normal lives, and so on, and, you know, just continuing on to make this something huge and something big. And I, for one, am very damn proud of it. I loved hearing about this. It made me cry a few times when I heard about some of these stories. And yes, people, yours truly can cry. I may look like a guy and stuff, and I am a guy, but there's still a heart and a soul in here that cares for people. Okay? Even if some people are considered the most complete assholes on this planet, that part of me will always still be there. And I will try to always keep myself in check and not say anything that's inappropriate towards someone or belittle them just because I want to be PO'd at them or something. But getting back on topic here. The Wounded Warrior Project, if you want to donate to them, follow the link down below to thewoundedwarriorproject.org and make your donation to them. For $19 and something a month, I think it is, you can help support the Wounded Warrior Project. You can help support our fighting men and women getting the help they need, the help they deserve, and not rely on a government who just looks at us people as expendable. Seriously. I'm sorry to say it about our United States government, but they don't care, okay? That's how it is. You didn't see them try to help our fighting men and women when they came back home and everything else. It was just brush them off as like they were nothing. You know? Well, you didn't die over there. Good for you, and so on and so forth. Here's a medal. Seriously. Either way, my heart and soul is a big supporter of this spectacular thing. I mean, it's hard to put into words some of the things that you hear and read about and everything. You hear about how a soldier came home and he's lost his arm. You hear about how a woman came home and she's blind in one eye because of a mortar or whatever you want to say it, shell exploded near her face and so on and so forth. I mean, these are hard things to hear about, but at the same time, the Wounded Warrior Project has been working hard to make sure these fighting men and women have something to keep them moving forward, to looking forward to a better tomorrow, a brighter future, and anything else you could think of. Like I said, you want to be a part of this and make a donation to them, follow the link down below in our description to thewoundedwarriorproject.org and make a donation to them. Sign up for their monthly newsletter and everything else, and you can hear about things about other soldiers and stuff like that. How you're helping, how your support, how anyone's support is helping to make the Wounded Warrior Project something bigger and better every time and stuff. Like I said, you want to be a part of it, follow the link down below to thewoundedwarriorproject.org. And we at the Adventurous Joe Show, to all of our fighting men and women, veterans or not, we salute you big time. Okay, now let's move on to our anime review. Coming up next. Week's anime review of Bayonetta's movie Bloody Fate. Now, this movie just was like a tie-in, basically, between the first game and the second game, and tells a little bit more of a story that took place with Bayonetta. Like how she's not just this witch who fights with her hair being like a weapon and everything else, and Literally, she can, in the game, she does get completely naked when she's using her hair as a weapon. Even her hair is practically her clothing. I mean, holy cow. Even in the anime movie, it's unbelievable how she works. Now, I saw both versions of it. I saw the Japanese version with the English subtitles, and I saw the English dub version. No difference in them, really, just the language barriers. And the film was great. I meant, for an animated movie that's based on a video game character and stuff, it was great. And it filled in a lot of the gaps of, like, why, what's her name, hated Bayonetta so much and stuff. Back and forth stories that kind of filled in, telling you that Bayonetta was more than just a witch and stuff. She was a woman who had somewhat of a heart and soul once, and it broke her on the inside and turned her into this woman that almost is always, she's kind of joking around and everything, but serious as hell, and so on and so forth. But the story was great nonetheless. The movie itself was great nonetheless. The animation, well done. Seriously. Even in the scene when she's sitting in the bathtub, you know, taking a bath and stuff. The way they did everything for the animation for her, from her face to her body and so on and so forth, was perfect. I mean, this was great work on this nonetheless. For a video game character that, you know, has been turned into an anime character and so on and so forth, the animation was perfect. It was no CGI effect crap, it was anime itself. And I couldn't believe how well they did on this. Either way, my final verdict for Bayonetta Bloody Fate, I'm going with a 10 out of 10. I loved this movie. It was good. I've watched it 3 times now. Watched it twice in the English dub. Watched it the 3rd time in the Japanese with English subs. Either way, the movie is spectacular. Highly recommend you check it out, and we're giving it a huge badass seal of approval for some of the action sequences that are in it. It was incredible to watch, and I loved it. I loved it, how it had just the right amount of blood and gore and stuff to it as well. I mean, in anime, yeah, I can understand that kind of stuff, but make no mistake on this thing. This is for adults only. This is not a kids type anime, so do not let your children watch it. You need to watch it yourself if you're over the age of 18, because this is not that kind of movie for children, okay? It's that kind of movie for, like, anyone that's over the age of 18 and older, because of the nudity, sexual innuendos, and so on and so forth. There's a lot to it that basically screams adults only, okay? Either way, my final verdict is a 10 out of 10, and badass seal of approval, and highly recommend you check it out for yourselves. If you have seen Bayonetta Bloody Fate, let us know down in the comments below what you thought about it, and tell us what you think, if you agree with us, don't agree with us, or whatever. Put it down in the comments down below, people. Okay, and that's it for our anime review for this week. Now, let's move on to our Cosplayer of the Week segment. Coming up next. Segment, and this lovely young lady, and I'm sorry guys, but I think she's taken, okay? This lovely young lady is known as Cosplay Tay. I first seen her, I haven't met her in person, per se. I first seen her through another Cosplayer of the Week who we've had a part of our show once, was Lonester Mash. They do a lot of X-Men cosplays together and stuff. Hers is Rogue, and she does a fantastic job with Rogue. I mean, seriously. I've seen a lot of Rogues out there and stuff, but hers was just like, it fit. just right with like a movie between the comic book and movie-based character itself. You know, just fitting just right together for a cosplay. And her Poison Ivy cosplay is incredible. I mean, she does a fantastic job with any cosplay she does. And we at the Adventurous Joe Show are welcoming her into the T.A.J.S. Cosplayers Hall of Fame and the soon-to-be created Cosplayer Force. Seriously, we have a whole Facebook page we're preparing for this. And it's going to have an amazing design done by our guy who did both my t-shirt and the show's logo, Richard Wellington. He does a fantastic job on everything he does, from custom t-shirts and more. Seriously, the guy is great at what he does. Either way, he's also a big part of this show just as much as I am and stuff, because of what he's done with both the logo and the shirt. So there you go. Either way, our cosplayer of the week for this week is none other than Cosplay Tay. Enjoy your picks, and we'll see you for the final part of the show, because I got a special treat from New Line Cinema and Warner Brothers. Your Cosplayer of the Week, and the next inductee to the T.A.J.S. Cosplayers Hall of Fame, which will be shown on the season finale for the New Year's special for the Adventurous Joe Show. We will have a huge little celebration of sorts, showing you all of our Cosplayers of the Week from both last year and this year. And we've got quite the haul for you. I mean it. And this young lady is also part of the new Cosplayer Force coming up that we will be showing. We'll be sending her an invite once the page is created, and she can post her pics on there and tell people about upcoming conventions she'll be at and so on and so forth. Just like all of our Cosplayers of the Week, we're going to be sending them a link to the page, an invite to the page. We're looking for 5 good people to be admins on the page, so there's a lot going on with the Cosplayer Force page coming up. So, that's it for us here at the Adventurous Joe Show for this week. Once again, I'd like to say big thanks to the Wounded Warrior Project people for allowing us to tell you all about their site and their job of what they do for our fighting men and women. And all I'd like to say to all you veterans out there is Happy Veterans Day. We hope you all are doing well and surviving. And last but not least, I said I had a special treat for you all. Now, I'm going to be taking off, and you're going to see the final trailer for The Hobbit, The Battle of the Five Armies, courtesy of New Line Cinema and Warner Brothers Pictures. I have been dying to see this. It's coming out 2 days after yours truly turns 37 years old. December 17th, people. I can't wait to see how this all ends. It's going to be fantastic from what I've seen in this final trailer. And I just can't wait to see the movie itself. So, that's it for us here at T.A.J.S. for this week. I have been your host, as always, the Adventurous Joe, Joseph Michaels. And peace out. May the Force be with you, and may the power protect you. See you all next week.
Thorin, you gave a promise.
You brought upon them only ruin and death.
You've won the mountain, is that not enough? Now, we defend it.
I came to reclaim something of mine.
This was the last move in a master plan. A plan long in the making.
These bats are bred for one purpose. For war.
Leave Sauron to me.
Bilbo is right. You cannot see what you have become. Everything I did for them.
You started this. You will forgive me if I finish it.
When faced with death, what can anyone do?
I will not hide while others fight our battles for us! You have but one question to answer. How shall this day end?